Hello, everyone, and welcome back to WOR here today for the second esports invitational event. And you're joined by me, Nathan Richards, on my own today for this race. Obviously, we had an esports invitational. It was last week where we was at Bahrain, and that was where Freddie Rasmussen, Tom Manley took that dominant victory. I think it was about 8 seconds by the end, and then third was Jake Benham, followed by I believe it was his teammate Danny Bresnay. Today Silverstone, completely different circuit to Bahrain, another iconic circuit which I can't wait to see how the drivers get along. However, we do have a couple of changes. Obviously, I believe we was running the F1 World Cars last week. If it wasn't, well, this week we are in the F1 World Cars. We've got a few different drivers, a few drivers making their first appearances here for Tier 1. Then also we have a different qualifying format. Today we're going to run the short qualifying format, which is just one qualifying session, 18 minutes long. So you're looking at normally about 2 or 3 runs in that session. And obviously we have the 50% race, which is 26 laps around the Silverstone circuit. A few people asked in the chat who is racing. I haven't got a graphic, unfortunately, but I can read out who we're meant to have in, as there's been a couple of changes. So the ones that are in the lobby so far, we've got JSD, Tygo Harding, Keedan Lutt, Bradley Holden, Tamash Gal, Andrei Tarabukin, Declan Barrett, Otis Lawrence, Keen Godendorp, Christian Jacobs, Andres Lopez, Ishmael Fassi, Jake Benham, Danny Brezhne. We've got Shaneka Clay and Alvaro Caraton. We've also got, I think it's Barry and Nico joining in either during quali or after quali. Obviously, the two at Ferrari. So, yeah, unfortunately, no. For many of the drivers in the chat, unfortunately, no Jano Otmir for today. He's having a nice little break before we get started for esports. Obviously, this is just an invitational event, so there's no realistic point systems or anything involved in this. It's just for a bit of fun and also for the drivers to do a little bit of testing, obviously getting themselves ahead for esports. Obviously, a lot of them as well in here. We've got a few of the Tier 2 races in here, a few, I believe, the F1 reserves, Tier 1 reserves as well, all taking part tonight in this race. So it'll be interesting to see how many drivers shape up with the grid. Obviously, a few, I believe, of the higher up race in this lobby will be starting from the back of the grid, not doing the quali session. So then, obviously, it's for some of the newer drivers, or you could say, the slower drivers, you could say, they'll have a higher chance of getting themselves into that top 5, top 10 in this race. But shortly, we should get our way in. We've got about 16 drivers in the lobby at the moment, and then we'll be able to get ourselves into the race. Obviously, last time, as I said before, we was at Bahrain. Freddie Rasmussen and Tom Manley won by about 8 seconds to Jake Benham in third. And, well, we did race here back at round 3 of the Tier 1 season, in season 15. Obviously, it was the first couple of rounds into the game, so obviously not everyone was up to grabs with how this game was working. So that's why the time for pole was a 1:24.332. That could be quicker today. It could also be slower, but I would presume that it might be a bit quicker because the drivers have had time to learn the learn the track a bit more, learn the setups, learn the way the game works compared to before. And obviously on pole was Otis Lawrence, who then went on to take victory. So Otis is a very quick driver when it comes to the Silverstone circuits. And second in that race was Istvan Puki, and third was Piotr Stachelek, who I don't think is racing today. So obviously, two of them are racing. I believe Istvan Puki will be racing as well. He's just not in the lobby just yet. And hopefully we can get our way into quali very soon. I think we're just waiting on a couple more drivers to have confirmation whether they're joining in quali or not. And I believe we have had confirmation that we can actually head into the session, so we can go in soon. And there will be the Ferrari guys joining for the race, which I believe is going to be Istvan, Nico, and Barry. And we're getting a few drivers ready up as we are going to get underway. Yeah, and you can see in the chat there, that's Nicholas Longate, Barry Borman, and Istvan Picky will join in qualifying. That's why there's only 17 of them in there at the moment. And then we got half of them ready up. We'll move over to the game screen quickly so you can see the drivers in the session. There we are. Oh, we're going to look the game. There we are. You can see the game. And you can see, there we are, ready to head into the qualifying session. And we have got F1 World Cars, so bear with us as we will spend a little bit of time trying to figure out who's in what car. As I think, most of them I think are in there. You'd say teams cars. You can see Keita and Bradley in the same car, yellow icon. You've got Declan and Kian with the orange icon. Jake and Danny as well with the black icon. So hopefully most people are in the, in their similar sort of team liveries for today. Obviously, the likes of the Williams drivers, so Alvaro, Schumacher, and Nismo can use the Williams livery, as that obviously was unlockable during the F1 World challenges. And now we do get into the session to start, as obviously, as I said before, it is a short qualifying session, so a bit of a different format to usual. Normally we have the qualifying 1, which is 18, followed by qualifying 2, which is 15, and followed by qualifying 3, which is 12 minutes. So it's just one 18-minute session. So you normally get about 3 runs in. Maybe if you make a mistake on one of the laps, you can back off and go for technically a 4th run. That would just be 2 laps in a row. So obviously we'll see what most drivers do. Some of them also will choose not to qualify, as they will want to start at the back of the grid. But obviously I can see a few people still asking who's in the lobby and who's racing. But if you look on the left side, you can see everyone who will be racing very shortly. And just to remind you that it will be Nico, Barry and Istvan who will join in the race. So obviously that's why there's no Ferrari drivers here in qualifying at the moment, so they will start from the back of the grid. So I'm just going to get everything set up on the stream, and then we can get ready to see some cars getting out on track. There we go. And there's a few drivers getting ready to go out. I can see a few. We'll just have to try and figure out who it is who's going out on circuit. I believe Tamas Gale was one of them. Yes, he was. I believe he's running an Alpine livery. And a couple of drivers in the Alpine livery as well. I think Andres Farukin and Andres Lopez, have they got the little pink icons. So at least we can tell who they are as they head out onto the circuit. And then they head through in towards, technically, turn 2 on their first 8 laps of the session. And then we'll obviously get to grips with who's who. As you can see, Tamashka will be actually second. I believe JSE will be the first head out on track in one of the Williams liveries. Very nice livery, that is indeed, on JSE's car. And then we've got Andrea Tarabukin, Tamas Gal, Declan Barrett, Rishan Jacobs, King Godendorp all heading out on track as well before we get started in the qualifying. So as I said, the pole time last time we raced here, which was round 3, was a 24.332 by Otis Lawrence. Obviously Otis is racing here today. He is out on circuit at the moment in the beautiful, I mean it's a triple crane livery it's called, that McLaren raced with earlier on in the IRL F1 season. And then obviously everyone else also. I think most of them are actually in some of the car liveries. You can see someone in the background there with one of the Gulf Williams liveries heading down in towards Brooklands. And Otis himself also heading through in towards Brooklands Corner. Obviously this circuit, I'd say very iconic circuit. It's a circuit I really like, and I think it's a circuit many other fans like. Obviously had the first, I think it was the first F1 race was held here in 1950, so it's been here for quite a long time. Been here, what 80 years, so it's a circuit we all know very well. And I believe we've got JSC who's coming down in towards the final straight, which I believe is a hanger straight, down in towards Stowe. And hopefully everything is final straight. Hopefully the audio is fine. It should be for the cars. As there we are. Jay heading through out of Stowe, down in towards the Vale chicane. Then he'll come through into Club to start his first lap of the session. So we'll see what JSC can get done in his Williams car as he comes through out of the chicane, through in towards Club Corner, and then back down the, I think it's the Hamilton straight, in towards that first corner at Abbey. So very nice, we'll see as he comes through. Obviously no DRS on this first straight as you turn it the 50-metre board, throw the car into turn 1, then back to the left at Farm Curve. Then you come down into Village Break. Just before that 50-metre board, throw the car down to 4th gear, ride it through, go a little bit 1 on the exit, you come through in towards the loop at turn 4. Then you'll have the left-hander at Aintree before you get onto this first DRS straight. You'll get a bit of a dose of DRS down in towards Brooklands Corner as we head through. You'll brake just at that 50-metre board, maybe even a little bit later as you head down to 4th gear, coast the car through, get back on the throttle, stamp on the brakes as you come through in towards Luffield, get back on the power gradually on the exit Luffield as you come through in towards Woodcut, and then you come down a little straight before you hit Copse Corner. Obviously, very famous corner in Formula 1. Very difficult as well to get right. Try not to run wide on the exit of Copse as you come through. And a very nice job there from JSC so far in this lap. You head through now in towards Maggots and Beckett. It's a very difficult section. I think it's a lot more difficult on this game than it was last game. As you come through there, very nice. And you have Chapel. Just keep it to the left. Get that DRS now as you head down the hanger straight in towards Stowe Corner. You want to go down to about 5th gear through there. Get yourself back on the power on the exit. And yet again, try not to run wide. It's very easy to get yourself a track limit violation around there. You can see, and he does get a track limit violation, JSC does. So that is his lap done and dusty. We will look at Tamas Skal, who I believe is heading down in towards the Vale chicane himself. So we'll see what he can do at the moment as he comes through out of the chicane, through in towards Club Court, the right-hander. What will it be for Tamas Skal? The first time of the session, a 24.793 there from Tamas. A very nice lap time indeed. We've got a few more drivers left to come through. Andrei Tarabukin goes fastest there with a 24.518. King Gonadop into second with a 0.680. Right, Andres Lopez, he's coming through into the final few corners. Reshan Jacobs pops himself into 4th with a 0.86. P7. What can Lopez do? Pops himself into 5th with a 25.173. We'll watch. As Jake Benham has retired from the session, he won't be taking part. I'm trying to find Otis Lawrence. Yes, he's coming through into the final corner. Last time, pole sitter here. And he will go pole again, provisionally, with a 24.485. As that was Tygo Hardy popping himself into the top 5. Declan Barrett into P3 there, just about a 10th back from Otis Lawrence. Janaka Clay into the top 4. Still a very nice lap time there from Andrei Tarabukin to be in the top 2. After the first few laps was coming through, we've got Daniel Barishnay coming down in towards Stowe. Shortly, we'll see what time he can set on the board. As Bradley Holdham there puts himself into P9 with a 24.938. There's some very quick times being set from many drivers around this grid so far. There's just a few left to come through. Ishmael Fassi, Navarro Caraton are in the pits. JSD has to go back into pits because he didn't set a lap time because he invalidated. Vantilo Bella there goes into the top 10 with a 25.144. Danny Berishnay goes into the top 4 with a 21 minute 24.582. They're just about 40 thousandths back from Declan Barrett, who's done yet again another very nice lap to put himself into the top 3. Obviously, Declan Barrett isn't really a full-time driver here in Tier 1, so to put himself into P3 is a very nice job from him indeed. You can see there, 12 drivers set a lap. Keegan Luck didn't set a lap. He's heading down in towards, well, the exit of the second sector. He did a 101.737, so he will finish the lap and has to avoid one of the cars that he comes through there, one of the American-style liveries, as he heads through into Stowe Corner. Currently in 13th. We'll see if he can get himself around that top 10. Obviously, Caden, a very, very quick driver indeed in the F1 scene. Out of the Welsh Cane, through in towards Club Corner, up to the line. What will it be for the driver? P7, very nice like that from Keenan to put himself. The 24.771. Obviously, Jake Benham has retired from the session. I don't think he wants to take part in quali, along with many of the drivers as well. That could also be the same for Isma and Alvaro. I don't even know if they went out at the start of qualifying. But now all the drivers are coming back in towards the pits after they finished their first runs. 13 drivers set a lap time, 3 didn't, and 1 won't be able to go out at all again in this session. That's Jake Benham, who's retired. So he will, most likely, unless the 3 behind retire, start last. But the top 5 at the moment is Otis Lawrence on provisional pole, Andrei Tarabukin on the provisional front row. Then we have Declan Barrett in 3rd, Danny Barishnay in 4th, and Shanaka Clay rounding out the top 5. So some very quick drivers there in that top 5. And very nice to see the likes of Andrei Tarabukin and Declan Barrett in the top 5 as well. And we can see a little bit further then we've got Keane Goldendorp in 6th. I believe he made his debut in WR on PC on Monday, last Monday, which was at this track. So somewhere, I believe he got 4th, so he did a very good job there, and that was in Tier 2, of course. And we have Kenan Lutz, followed by Tamas Gal, Tiger Hardy, and Richard Jacobs, rounding out the top 10, about 4 tenths separating the top 10. So hopefully when we come towards the end of the session, that gap will come considerably down. Then we have Bradley Holden, Valentino Labella, and Andres Lopez, who set times, but they are not in the top 10. We've got a couple of drivers heading out onto circuit. We'll have a look who that might be. It will be the 2 other Williams of Ishmael Fassi and Alvaro Caraton. So they will be setting times. I didn't realise Alvaro is already down at Magnuson Beckett's, and Ismail is down at turn 5 at Aintree. So we'll go on board with Alvaro Caraton, who's on a set of medium tyres. Is Ismail also following him? Yes, he is. So they're both on a set of mediums. We'll see if anyone else went on to a set of mediums. No, everyone else went on to a set of softs. So obviously don't expect these lap times from these 2 to be the quickest, as they are on the second hardest compound tyre. Obviously the hard being the hardest and the soft being the softest. They're in the middle on the mediums. So Caraton coming through in towards the Welsh Cane. Then he'll come through in towards Club Corner to begin his first lap of the session, and we'll see what he can do. And I think even if he can be quicker than at least one driver, that would definitely be very rewarding for him, considering he's on the mediums. You're normally a few tenths slower on those tyres. As he comes through, down in towards the village corner at turn 3, down to normally 4th gear. Then you get back on the power down to 3rd, though, for Alvaro into there. Then you can keep it in 3rd through the loop. Then you come through in towards Aintree. Get yourself back up and charge through the gears. As you head down in towards Brooklyn, bit of DRS, but his slipstream has to back off. There's a couple of cars just getting slightly in his way as they head down in towards Brooklyn's corner. A few more getting out of the way on the entry of the corner. Then you come through towards Luffield. Keep it tight to the inside. Run a little bit wide if you want to get yourself a later apex. Then you go through, riding the curb at the exit of Luffield, through towards Woodcote. Keep yourself to that inside. Then you come down and see a bit of a small straight before Cops Corner. Obviously, Cops, a very difficult corner if you get it wrong. If you go too close to the inside, you can actually invalidate there. Not many drivers do, because you don't normally go that far to the inside, but it is possible. But it's on the exit. That's normally quite one of the worst places on this track to get yourself an invalidation, because sometimes you can't control the car going that far out wide. All it takes is a bit of a wide entry, and you can go very, very wide indeed. And we'll see what he did in that second sector. Combined a 103.9, so that's like 2 seconds off, I believe, what King Godendorp did on his lap, who's currently in the top 6. So you're looking at probably around a 26 lap time for Alvaro Carreton, but you can see he's not really done much pushing at all either on this lap time. Just going to get himself a lap on the board. As he comes through out to the final couple of corners, we'll go on board with Ismail Fassi as well, who's heading through, got blocked there in towards Copse Corner by one of the Alpine cars. So he's not going to be too happy with that, even though it's not going to be representative time either way. He's coming through into Magnus and Beckett. Alvaro did a 27.923. And Isma there was pretty much the same lap time coming through the first and second sectors with a 3.9. And then a few more drivers on there, 8 laps, starting a lap. He's LT Slowens, he's heading through. Now, through in towards Aintree Corner on his second lap of the qualifying session. Currently on a 1 minute 24.485. Did take pole last season here with a 24.332. He's down by 7 thousandths in the first sector. Not an ideal scenario, but to be fair, the first sector is normally the place where you will lose the most time, because there's a lot of the slower corners in that sector of the circuit. Then you come through at Woodcut down in towards Copse Corner. And it's very difficult to lose or gain time here, realistically, because if you just keep it flat all the way through in towards Copse, run it wide on the exit, you head down now in towards Magnus and Beckett. You can gain a lot of time here if you take the line into here. Right, we'll go on board with the McLaren as we come through. You can see down to 7th, then it'll go down to 6th. Get back on the power, stamp on the throttle as you come through. DRS will be activated soon. It's a 1/10th improvement for Otis Lawrence, so that could put him onto 1 minute 24.3. If you can keep it through the final few corners in towards turn 16 at Stowe, down to 6th gear, get yourself back on the throttle, ride it wide, down in towards the Vale chicane at turn 17 and 18. As he goes through there very nicely, you're normally going to want to go down to about third or fourth gear. Then you come through in towards Club Corner. What will it be for Otis Lawrence? Is it an improvement? Yes, it is. And it is 1,000th slower than his pole time last season. It's a 1 minute 24.333. And a few more drivers coming through. Bradley Holdham there into the top 6 with a 24.642. It's all trying to find who actually is on a lap. We've got Declan Barrett. He's up by 32 thousandths in the first and second combined. Tamas Gal pops himself into the top 3 there with a 1 minute 24.545. King Godendorp now onto the provisional front row with a 24.496. The second driver to get himself below a 24.5. Cancel that. Shanaka Clay puts himself into second with a 24.461. Declan Barrett coming through the final corner. Where can he go? He doesn't improve. He was 43 thousandths down there. Richard Jacobs popped himself into the top 5. Danny Brauschney is coming through. We'll see what he can improve to. He goes onto the second row there with a 413, but still that's about 80 thousandths back to Otis Lawrence, who set a great second lap here in this qualifying session. I'm trying to see who else is on laps. Is Caden Lutton on a lap? Yes, he's heading down in towards turn 16, but he's down, so that lap time won't be set. JSD, is he on a lap? No, he's not. He's let off. He's 3 seconds down. He's currently in 9th with 24.620. But the top 5 has changed slightly. But I think it might be pretty much the same drivers, just in a different order. Otis Lawrence still is ahead though, but Daniel Bereshne in second, Shanaka Clay in third, King Godendorp in the top 4, and Andrzej Tarabuki now in the top 5. He didn't improve, so to keep yourself in the top 5 without any improvement on that second run is a great job from him indeed. And Richard Jacobs and Tamas Gal and Declan Barrett all very close together there within about 25 thousandths of a second from 6th down to 8th. Tamas Gal and Declan Barrett separated by 2 thousandths of a second, so very close between those two. Then you can see JS in the top 9 and Bradley Holdham as well, getting himself into the top 10 for F7R. And motor drivers now heading back in towards the pit lane. Andres Lopez improved to a 24.872. Put himself into 13th. Valentino Labella still in the bottom 4. He's one of the only drivers, apart from Alvaro Carreton, to not put himself into the 24. So not very good at all there for Valentino Labella. That's about 80-ish tenths back from Otis Lawrence. So he definitely wants to get an improvement in the final part of the session. About 4-ish minutes left to go before we head our way in toward, well, we've got about 2 minutes till we head our way onto the final laps. We've got about 4 minutes till the session ends. As you can see there now, most of the cars heading back in towards the pit lane. Just a few left on track, 2 of them, which is Danny and Valentino. And then shortly, we'll see pretty much within the next minute, most of the cars head back out again to finish their final runs. Obviously, there's no Q2 or Q3 here. It's just a 18-minute qualifying session. And just to remind you all, yes, there is 17 drivers, but there will be 20 when we come to the race. We'll have a restart after qualifying. We'll get in then Nicholas Longate, Barry Burmand, and Istvan Pukki. to take part for the actual race. So they'll start 18, 19, 20. As you can see now, Derbyshire just entering the pit lane. His teammate Jake Benham, obviously in P16, hasn't set a lap time in his qualifying session. He did retire, I believe, without exiting the track. So don't worry, he didn't DNF on track. He just clicked retire because he doesn't want to qualify. He wants to start at the back of the grid. And I thought we'd have a few more not qualifying than just one in the set. Well, I suppose you could say two, because Ismail Fassi hasn't set a lap either. I thought we'd have quite a few more not taking part in qualifying. As you can see now, the last couple of cars just heading back into the pits, and shortly we'll head ourselves back out for the final part of qualifying. Obviously, going to quote Chris Buxton of the Banzai phase now of qualifying. The last 3 minutes to go, where everyone gets their final preparation and their final push laps in, and we'll be able to determine who is on pole and who will be on the front row with that pole sitter. We can see the first car out. I was actually pointed onto the right car. It's Caden Lutz heading through in towards turn 2 with Tycho Hardy sitting behind him, who's currently in P12 just behind him on the timing screens. So we'll see what these two manage to do in the end of qualifying. Alvaro Carreton won't be setting a lap time in this session. He will start at the moment P15, depending on what Ismail Fassi does at the end of this session. Otis Lawrence, Danny Browshney also heading out onto their final 8 laps of the session. JSD as well now. And you can see now everyone pretty much heading out on towards circuit, bar a couple of others. Obviously, some of them do choose to go a little bit later at the end of quali, just to be at the end and normally get the best track evolution. You start your lap last, you've got the best track to use to get yourself a good lap time on the board. But everyone now, apart from Ismail Fassi, out on circuit. Keaton looks still the first one out on track, actually. I think Tiger Hardy did pass him yesterday, so Tiger Hardy at the moment will be the first to set a lap time in this session. And we come towards the end, well, come towards the final moment. So let us know in the chat, everyone, who do you think will take pole position in this qualifying session? Normally I'd have someone to ask, or someone ask me in the commentary box, but instead I'll have to make that decision for myself, and it will be, in my eyes, Otis Lawrence who will take pole. He's got a great lap time on the board at the moment with a .333, which I think is a great banker to go into the final few laps, and I think he will still be able to get an improvement, as he was down, remember, in that first set. So for me, I think Otis Lawrence will take pole, but I want to know in the chat who you think will take pole in this session. And I believe we'll be likely to see the names of Otis, Danny, Shanaka in the chat as well. Obviously, those three doing a great job. Obviously, Otis not part of esports, but Danny and Shanaka very much part of esports and been there for a very long time and been in this scene for a very long time. But Tiger Hardy will still be the first one to set a lap time in this session. He's heading down in towards Stowe Corner. Then he'll head down towards the Val Chicane, then in towards Club Corner before he starts his final lap. So we'll go on board with Tiger Hardy for now, and we'll see how he gets on through this lap. And I've got to say, he's got a beautiful livery there, the black, white and red livery. Car number 74 as well is his chosen number. But he heads out of Club Corner down towards turn 1 he goes, and we'll see what Tiger Hardy can do at the end of this session. Currently in P12 on a 124.798. Keaton Luck following him just slightly behind in towards turn 1. Down in towards turn 3 he goes, down to 3rd gear. Ismail Fassi won't be continuing in this session. He comes through out of turn 4, through towards turn 5 at Aintree. Very nice so far for Tiger Hardy. Obviously wanted to push a little bit more than you would normally at the end of the qualifying session. We'll see if he gets an improvement in the first sector as he heads down in towards Brooklands at the braking zone. He's up by 35 thousandths of a second, so a decent improvement there for Tiger Hardy in the first sector. But if he wants to get himself even more than one position, he's got to get himself at least a 10th and a half to put himself ahead of Bradley Holdham, who's currently in the top 10. He comes through out of Woodcut now, down in towards Cops Corner, so we'll see what he can do through there. You want to keep it normally into 7th gear, or you can keep it in 8th and just go flat all the way through. You can see there, very nice from Tycho in that section, not even going close to running wide at the exit Cops Corner. Then he comes through in towards the Manx and Beckett section, one of the hardest parts of the circuit and one of the easiest places to gain and lose time. And we'll see shortly as he comes out of Chapel through towards the DRS line. It's up by 65 thousandths on our screens. It says purple, but that might not be entirely true. Now, you can't start any more lap times if you have crossed the line, as qualifying has officially ended. And we come through now with Tiger Hardy, the final few moments for him in this session. Then towards the Val Chicane. Then he comes through in towards Club Corner. Will it be an improvement for Tiger Hardy? Will it be a chance to be in the top 10? It will be. 9th so far with a 5.78. Pretty much, just about half a tenth quicker than JSD. Keaton Luck improve. No, he doesn't improve. He stays in P12. I'm just trying to find who else is on a lap time. I've got Andre Tarabukin coming through into the final few corners. Otis Lawrence as well. We'll see, can he improve? Yes, he can. A 124.203. A 10th and a half improvement there for Otis Lawrence. Danny Browshney does improve, but it will only be second with a 24.283. Still a 10th nearly off of Otis Lawrence. Tamas Gal now goes into the top 3 with a 3.1018. Shanaka Clay, he's heading down. He's purple in the middle sector. Andre Tarabukin in the top 5. That's That was King Goldendorf back into the top 4. Very nice lap time from him there with the 24.343. We've got a few drivers still coming through. Labella improves into the top 10. Andres Lopez doesn't get himself out of the top 13. What about Shanaka Clay? What can he do in qualifying? Can he put himself onto the front row? Yes, he can. With the 24.256, they're half a tenth away from Otis Lawrence. That is the end of the session, and a great climatic end to qualifying. It will be Otis Lawrence on pole yet again, as he was back in season 15 at round 3. And this time his pole position time is about 10th and a half quicker, as it is a 24.203, half a tenth clear of Shanaka Clay in second. Then a little bit further back, we've got Darren Bergenet in the top 3. Then we have Tamas Gal, Kian Goldendup, Andrei Tarabukin, Rishan Jacobs, JSD, Declan Barrett and Valentino Labella in the top 10. Then to round off the grid, we have Tygo Hardy, Bradley Holdham, Andres Lopez, Keaton Lutz, Alvaro Caraton, Jake Benham and Ismail Fassi. Obviously, Alvaro, Jake and Ismail didn't set any proper times in the session, so only 14 set lap times, and it is a 5.5 tenth split between the whole grid. Great ending to qualifying. Nice to see the likes of Tamas Gal, Kian Gonadup, Andrei Tarabukin in that top 4-5 area. And I'd say, yeah, absolutely so job. But we will have a restart as we've got to get the other 3 in, which is the Ferrari pair. Well, Ferrari trio, I should say. And then we will get ourselves back under race. And obviously, either way, we would have had a restart because we had some 5 place grid penalties, which are obviously not legit. So we're going to move ourselves back over to the camera screen before we get started in towards the Grand Prix. Normally the restarts don't take that long. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. As we can see now, we're going to get ourselves into the session. Actually, we do have time. I will play the 3 adverts, so obviously keep yourselves seated as we'll have a quick ad break with NLR, GridFinder and Virage GG. So there we are with the 3 adverts ready before we start our way into the race. We're just waiting for everyone to get into the lobby now. It's going to put ourselves to spectator, and we've got Barry Boromant who's just joined into the lobby, and obviously we've got Nicholas Longanis Van Pookie who will also join in for the race. Obviously they'll start 18th, 19th and 20th as they didn't take part in qualifying, but it'll be key to see what they can do from those places on the grid. But remember, for many of the drivers who are heading into esports, it will be an opportunity mainly just to try and learn maybe some strategies for the race. So starting from the back might be a little bit better than qualifying. You can learn how to work your way through the field well, learn what tyres work well, learn if the undercut or the overcut's better. Obviously, both of them have their perks and their disadvantages. So a lot of it is a bit like a practice session, but in a race format for many of the drivers. Some of the drivers who might not be in esports will be just having this as a bit of fun, also to learn themselves whereabouts they put themselves in the grid at Tier 1 to see maybe if they had the chances next season to put themselves in the Tier 1, in one of the Tier 1 seats. But we should get started should get underway shortly. We've got to just get a few more drivers in the lobby. Then we'll have the grid set up and we'll get ourselves under the way to the race. But while we have time, we'll have a look at the circuit on the stream. So if you miss qualifying, we can see the track of Silverstone. So there we are, Great Britain, Silverstone. A great circuit, 5.8 kilometres, 3.6 miles and 18 corners, of course. And 2 DRS zones, the first one down towards Brooklands and the second one down in towards Stoke. Yeah, very nice track. 18 corners indeed. And I'd say, for me, my favourite part of this circuit is probably Cops and the Merckx and Beckers. It's just so, like, if you get it right, it's such a flowy part of the circuit. And I think a lot of drivers as well agree. And I think another thing about this track, which is really nice, is you can pretty much have every, like, type of car or bike race around here. Like, you have the GTs, you have the LMPs, we've had F1, F2, F3, motorbikes. Like, every single vehicle has raced themselves around this circuit. I think that's what also makes it possibly one of the nicest circuits on the calendar. In F1 and in pretty much any series. And probably a little bit biased due to the fact I'm English, but still, beautiful circuit. The first circuit I actually went to ever, Silverstone, and yeah, it was a great day. Back in 2017, there wasn't any F1 race. It was some, it was a BMW M3s, and there was also some Renault Clios. But still, really good day. And the circuits look a lot different. They, like, when you go there in real life, they do look a lot different than they do on the game. Obviously, that's probably self-explanatory, but I don't want to explain what I mean. And I'm just waffling on as we're going to try and wait for the session to get underway. If there's anyone in the chat wants to give me something to talk about, feel free. Any sort of topic relevant with the game or with F1, feel free to ask me. Or if it's any questions, why not? I've got a bit of time. We've got a bit of time to spare because we've got to get a few more in. Then we can get the grid set up for the race. Yeah, as I said, going into the race, I think Aussie Lance is probably one of the ones we need to watch out for because took pole and won in round 3 at the official season 15. He's took pole here this time, a pole time 1.33 tenths-ish quicker than what it was in round 3. So we'll see if he can do back-to-back and get himself another victory here at Silverstone. It seems it's always been a great track for him. Who's Caden Lutz? A driver that's been here for a long time. I've commentated over him a couple of times in the past. It was back in, I think, WOR Tier 2 and also in some of the team events on the last game. I haven't seen much of him in this game, though, to be fair, so it's nice to see him back racing. Obviously, it says PSR, but he's not part of PSR, as unfortunately they disbanded recently. Has there been any WR Season 16 announcements? Nope, there has not. I know nothing, apart from the stuff that has been put into the Discord, which I believe is about the sign-ups being open, I think, in a couple of weeks' time. Actually, we'll have a look at that so we can give everyone a little bit of information about the sign-up. So if you're not in the Discord, feel free to join the Discord either way so you can get yourself involved. And yes, we can see that the Season 16 sign-ups will be live next week. Obviously, there'll be more information regarding specific things coming as the day as the day gets closer. And then the season will also run from mid-November to the beginning of February. And then that will also make sure that Season 15 fits in before the next game. So yeah, so it'll be mid-November to February, obviously a little bit long because we'll have Christmas and New Year also in the way there. So yeah, obviously that is all the information we have to give you for now regarding Season 16. I couldn't say Season NPC. That's Yana Otmir. Oh wait, it could be Yana Otmir, couldn't it? Yeah. It's just a shame he's lost some skill over the past, isn't it? Pretty much. Esports to be held next year. I don't know when esports is. Hopefully soon though. It's given us too much longer of a wait so far for esports, but hopefully it gets underway soon. I think last year wasn't it like I think we started like September time last year. It's a lot different now. That's said for sure. We're in October. It still hasn't even been announced or anything properly. So a long time to wait. So yeah, bit of information about season 16. No, Kidden's a great driver actually. I remember I gave him an interview back at I think it was CTC I think last season. I think you was racing with PSR then. and he won a few races actually. I think he was the only driver that won more than like 2 races in the season. So, you know, he might not be as quick as Jarno, but he's still a very, very quick driver indeed. And that sounds a bit mean, but you know, I need to stop digging myself into a hole here. It's not going to end well. Francesco says Bradley for the win. Maybe. I think he's like P11 in quali, so it's possible. We'll see what he can do. Anyone can win from anywhere on the grid. Just depends what happens. Maybe we'll vote Keaton for the win. Maybe we can say get the win. He might do. That's who I'm going to go for. I'm going to go with Keaton Look for the win. I've been a bit mean, so I've got to redeem myself. Just got to hope not to commentate curse. I remember, I think it was in WR in season 15. I cursed Ron Hart. I think it was twice in a row. Oh well. Sorry, Primos. Didn't mean for it to get that personal. Yeah, I cursed Ron Hart twice in a row. So by saying that Keaton's going to win, I could definitely end up cursing him. But maybe it's a reverse of the curse. Am I crazy? Some would say that yes. I would say it no. I know I'm not crazy, but I'm sure many people would say I am. I hope I don't come across as crazy here. I've not done anything crazy just yet. If you hear some more opinions about F1, then you might think I'm crazy. Because I like Max Verstappen, but we'll leave that for another day. We've got everyone in the lobby, we've got everyone readying up. So actually, we've been waffling on for the past 5 minutes, and we all get away in towards the race as we are now finally readying up. So you can see enough of my face, as I don't like seeing my face on stream. And you can see the main screen with all the drivers and the drivers readying up. So 26 laps to go here in the Silverstone circuit. A great circuit. Of course, obviously the first one to host the Grand Prix, and I've said that, and we've not readied up. We've unreadied. So we'll have a look at the straight a little bit more. We can have a look at my liveries. We've got the Red Bull livery, pink, blue, and purple, blue, and black. We've got the standard one, and then we've also got a really nice one which I made before, my fourth design, which is a purple, yellow, blue, and black. I really like that livery, but I'm not fast enough to drive any league, so I don't get to give it a chance. Where's the other commentator? Unfortunately, our other commentator isn't here, so I wish the best to Chris, who hopefully will be here again next time, and I don't know where Ryan and Dan are. They're not here, obviously, today. They'll be back again for next season. So you've got me on my own today. We did ask a couple of others, and Sappy, who I'm normally with on Tier 2, unfortunately got held up by the UK's greatest railway system, so he couldn't make it at all tonight. But I hope I can accommodate you all good enough as well. And no, there's no Yana today, unfortunately. He won't be racing today in WOR. So we've got 20 seconds to go. You can see on the screen the clock going down, and then we get that awkward moment where we've got to try and guess when the race will start. And yet again, we've been cancelled with our vote. So isn't this fun? A long, long wait. So I wish people didn't ready up too early. And we're readying up again, and we're unready, ready, constantly. So we will get underway shortly. So keep tight. Keep yourself seated. Perfect time actually to go and get yourself a drink or a snack before we head our way into the race. And this time I think we actually will get underway. We've got 10 seconds on the clock. Let me now count down towards 5 seconds. Then we have 3, 2, 1. So now we will head in towards the session 4, the 26th lap British Grand Prix. Obviously, this is the Esports Invitational, and if you didn't know last time, the top 3 were Freddie Rasmussen, Tom Manley, and Jake Benham. Only one of them here tonight, which is Jake Benham, who will be starting, I believe, down in towards P15, P16-ish for this race. And you can see all the drivers. If you're new here, you can see all the drivers on the right who will be taking part in tonight's race. Otis Lawrence is on pole ahead of Shanaka Clay, who's in 2nd place, and then I believe it's Denny Browshney in 3rd. So we'll see how those 3 get away on the grid as we head through in towards that first corner. We'll see as well what tyres the drivers choose as well, because that could also be a big factor in this race. And we can see them now. Loading has been complete, so we will look at the pit lane before we look at the track, and then we'll shortly get to see the cars on track. All the people in the pit lane you can see there as you look all the way down towards the bottom of the pits, which I think this is the longest pit lane as well in terms of how long you spend in the pit lane, because you are limited to I believe, 50 miles an hour. Normally they're about 70, I think, or something like that. So you're a lot slower in this pit lane than you are in others, hence why it takes nearly 31 seconds or something to pass all the way through. So, we'll luckily start very shortly. Let us know in the chat who you think will win. I'm going to go with Kid and Luck because I was being a little bit mean to him earlier, so I'll try and redeem myself and say he will get the victory. Everyone as well, let us know in the chat who you think will win the race. Obviously, the 3 Ferrari guys starting 18th, 19th and 20th. We'll see what they can do. Maybe one of those could take a podium or a victory here today in this race, but obviously that's going to be unlikely starting all the way at the back of the grid around a circuit which can sometimes be quite difficult to overtake on if you're on slower tyres or if you're not on super fast softs. So we'll see shortly. All the drivers in front of us. It's Otis Lawrence on pole, Shanaka Clay on the front run. We'll see who gets a better run down towards that first corner. As we're still waiting for all the players to get their setup, speak with their engineers, get all the necessary pre-race stuff sorted out, all the fuel, tyres, all of that needs to be sorted for the race. And we will get underway very shortly. We've been helped for quite a little bit of time here. And we also might be able to hear the countdown, which we can't see, but we can sometimes hear the beeping sound. And we can see now we have 1 lights, 2 lights, 3, 4, and the 5th lights for the Esports Invitational event here at Britain. It's lights out and off they go down towards that first corner. Great start from the top 2 there. We'll see who got a better start. And Otis Lawrence did get a better start than Shanaka Clay as they come through. Shanaka, you can see there blocking Danny Browshney off, who was looking for a move as well. As they head down towards turn 3, move for the lead from Shanaka Clay. Can't get closer to Otis Lawrence as they come through and towards turn 3. We'll look at the tyres as well as they come through. We can see Richard Jacobs on the soft tyres, so we'll see what he can do on those. We can see the 2 Alpines fighting Tamas Gal and Andrei Tarabukin as they head through out to Daintree down towards the Brooklands corner. So it is Tamas into 4th. A few mistakes further behind that is Keaton Lott down into P20 as that's Richard Jacobs down into the top 5 to put himself ahead of Andrei Tarabukin to also look now ahead of the other hard tyre runner of Tamas Gal in the Alpine. We can see Declan Barrett. He's looking for a move there with, I think that's Tygo Hardy as they head out of Woodcote down towards Copse corner in the top 3. Still Otis, Shanaka and Daniel Browshney, but Richard Jacobs making a good job on those soft tyres. They're looking to the behind of the Mercedes driver as they head through in towards Magnussen and Beckett's. Will Rishan launch a move? Surely not. In towards this section, you'll have to wait as they head down in towards Stowe corner. You can see on these softs a lot more pace to use on these tyres, a lot more grip, a lot more traction, better under brake. Into the outside line goes Richard Jacobs to now put himself into the top 3. Danny Browshney demoted to P4 as they head through, and you can see them all going 2-3 wide. You can see already Isan Pookie and Barry Burman up to P12 and P14. Nicholas Longay, unfortunately, must have gone to an incident. He's down in P19, 1.2 seconds back off the field as we come through in towards Novelland Club chicane for the first time in this race. The top 3 crossing the line after that one will be Otis Shanaka and Rishan Jacobs. So a big change there for Rishan. Started down in P7, brought himself up into the top 3. Keaton's got a 5-second penalty and he will be probably out of this race. Nicholas Longay also into the pit lane, but you can see the 3 Ferraris all starting onto a set of soft tyres. Is Van Pookie into the top 11, so we'll have a quick look at him as he's trying to make himself through the field very nicely now onto the back of Tygo Hardy, already looking to put himself into that top 10. A very good job there from Van Pookie indeed as they head down now in towards turn 7 at Brooklands, and Rishan Jacobs got himself into the top 2 ahead of Shanaka Clay in the Williams as they head through out of Luffield through and towards Woodcote, and then a little bit further back we can still see many moves happening. I want to go back to Pookie as well to see what he's up to, looking to put himself around the outside of JSD in towards Copse corner. They go 2 wide. Who will come out ahead? It will probably be Van Pookie. It is Van Pookie. Oh, and there's a big spin. That's JSD off the circuit at Copse. He must have made a bit of contact there with Pookie as they come through, and I think also someone else must have got caught up in that as well, because I did see someone else go through JSD. Well, big shame there for Jay. He's going to be really far back now on the grid. And Declan Barrett looking for a move on Kean Gondort to put himself into P7. Kean also looking for a move in towards Copse's Stowe as well to put himself ahead of Andrei Tarabukin as Rishan Jacobs takes the lead on the soft tyres to put himself ahead of Otis Lawrence and lead for his first lap here in Tier 1 of WOR. Is Van Pookie. He's got himself ahead of Kean Gondort to put himself into P8 now, looking to get himself ahead of Declan Barrett, who's in the top 7, done a very good job so far, started P9. Names to the top 7, could be shortly demoted down into P8 because this Van Pookie set the fastest lap there. But it was a 28.388 on his tyres as they head down in towards turn 3. Then we'll come through in towards the loop in the Daintree, and this one you can see just trying to push Tarabukin through. He got himself ahead of Declan Barrett then, so Braken's done a missed that move for P7. As you know, head down in towards Brooklands. A bit of battery being used there by Pookie. Can he get himself ahead of Trabuke into the corner? He will set it up the inside as they come through, side by side in towards turn 8 at Luffield. They go. It's going to be around the outside for Istvan Pookie. Can he get it stuck around the outside? They go side by side still, heading through towards Woodcock. Bit of contact there between the two of them. They still go side by side through in towards Cop's corner, but I think Istvan Pookie's just got himself ahead. Yes, he has. So Istvan Pookie now into the top 6. Barry Burmand getting himself ahead there of Kean Gondel, put himself into top 9. He'll be looking to get himself ahead now of Declan Barrett, who's in the top 8. Not ideal when you've got 2 people behind on soft working over the field, because all that work you make on that first lap gets overdone. As you can see now, Richard Jacobs got a 2.5 lead to Otis Lawrence as they head down in towards Stowe Corner. And not an ideal scenario. You would have thought Richard would have liked to pull away from the rest of the field, but unfortunately not able to do so, as that is Barry ahead of Declan Barrett. He's put himself into the top 8 to follow his teammate through. As we can see, where is Nicholas Longo? He's down in 19th. He's 36 seconds back off this train on a set of medium. So now it's pretty much just a practice session for Nicholas Longo. There's nothing much he can do, as Barry's now looking for a move up the inside at turn 1 on Andrew Trabuke into the inside line. You can see Andre there still trying to hold around the outside at Farm Curve. They go down in towards Village at turn 3. Istvan Pookie ahead of Tamash Gal. Barry Burman now ahead of Andre Tarabukin. That's JSD retired in the pit lane, so he's done in this session. But the two Ferraris making a good job to get themselves into 5th and 7th after just 3 laps of this Grand Prix. Coming on towards lap 4 now. And we'll see. Could be time before one of them gets himself into the top 5. That is round the outside from Declan Barrett, trying to get himself ahead of Andre Tarabukin. As Barry's lost that 1 second to Tamash Khan. He's got to try and gain that back quickly. As we can see, that is a yellow flag from, I believe that was JSD's car in the pit lane. So obviously nothing to be looking at too much there. As we fly through towards Cop's corner, no one looking for a move into there like we saw in the last couple of laps. We'll see shortly what Barry Burman can do if he can get himself onto the back of Tamash Gal. 7.5 gap between those two. P6 and P7. Obviously, Tamash should be in the better strategy when it comes to the overcut because he's got those hard tyres on, compared to Barry, who has to go for an undercut because he's on the soft softer tyres. As Otis Lawrence takes the lead in towards Stoke Corner to put himself back ahead of the soft run of Richard Jacobs, and not the run he would have wanted. You would have thought realistically would have liked to pull away from Otis, but unfortunately not able to do so there on his tyres. So he's going to be stuck in P2 and could be not very good for his strategy, but he hasn't really utilise it too much to get himself far ahead. Once he picks onto a set of hards or mediums, he's going to lose time once these softs start to die, and then also he's going to have to take the next tyres longer than the others, so they will also start to die on that set. So yeah, it could not be the best strategy there for Rishan, but you can see obviously Istvan and Barry making it work. They started at the back, they're now into the top 5 and 7, so either way they're still going to make a lot of positions because they've gained 10. Istvan's gained about 12. With Danny Barrowshan is looking for a move possibly onto the back of Shanaka Clay towards turn 7 they go. Rishan onto the back of Otis. Danny on the back of Shanaka Clay as they head through. And you can also see Tamashka looking for a move on Istvan Pookie. After these softs started to slowly have a bit of a drop off, because you can see now the gap between Istvan and Danny is about 5.5 of a second. The gap between Tamash and Istvan is 0.2 of a second as they come through in towards Cop's corner for the 5th time in this race. And obviously the top 5 still Otis, Rishan, Shanaka, Danny and Istvan Pookie. But Tamash Gal could be looking to put himself back into the top 5. He's got a great run through Magnuson Beckett's train towards Chapel. Bit of a slide for Istvan Pookie on the exit of Beckett's now as they head down in towards turn 16 at Stowe. Shanaka Clay now looking for a move onto Rishan Jacobs. Rishan looking for the lead. They go 3 wide in towards Stowe Corner. Shanaka Clay now looking to try and fight for the lead with Otis Lawrence. They go side by side down in towards the chicane, and none of them make a move. Danny's now looking for a move on Rishan to get himself back into P3 as they come through. But yeah, that could have ended in tears for one of those 3 as they nearly went 3 wide in towards Stowe. But I think Rishan actually backed off a bit as they went into there. And now this will put Istvan Pookie right onto Taylor Danny Barish as they head through in towards turn 3. Do we see any moves from anyone in towards there? No, we don't. We could see a move possibly in towards turn 4. We do see a move. Oh, a bit of a tap there from Danny to Rishan. He's fun up the inside of Danny Barish as they come through in towards turn 5 side by side. And Danny just getting himself back ahead there of the Ferrari driver as they head down in towards Brooklyn's corner. Do we see a move from Tamash? No, we don't, but he's still sitting in this train very close. And you can see Rishan, his tyres are starting to have a bit of wear. He's 6/10 back from the rest of the train. He's starting to hold people up. You can see Danny trying to push Rishan through the corners. They head out of Luffield in towards Woodcut now. And Tamashgal also looking to get himself ahead of this on Pookie again. Barry Burmand also closing quickly to the back of Tamashgal as they come through. We'll go on board with Tamash to see if he can get himself a move done. As they head through in towards Max and Becker Jets again, you can see now the hard tyres tend to be a little bit better through this section at the moment. We've got a little bit more grip to use in those tyres as they come through. Very nice there from Gal. As they now head down in towards Stoke Corner again, and I don't think this time we'll see a 3-1 move, but we could see a move for P5 as it's this Tamash Gal to the inside of Van Pookie to put himself through into top 5. Shanaka Clay gets the lead from Otis Lawrence there as they head down now towards the Vel chicane. Shanaka Clay leading, Otis in second, and still Rishan Jacobs in the top 3. It's Van Pookie now looking for him to get himself back ahead of Tamash Gal, who made a great move in towards Stowe to put himself back into the top 5. And now possibly the Sots could be starting to lose their mojo a little bit in this Grand Prix. As we head down in towards turn 3, yet again a few people further back making a move. I think that's Alvaro Caraton looking to get himself ahead of Declan Barrett. Great move from him back up the inside to turn 4 from Caraton. Can he keep it alongside through turn 5? Yes, he can keep it alongside with Declan Barrett. They touch a little bit as they come through. Alvaro Caraton into the top 9 started down in P16. He's making it work on those hard tyres very well as they head down now in towards Brooklands, and Alvaro now trying to chase down Andrei Tarabukin, who's on also the hard tyres. So this is all down to outright pace between these two as they head through in towards Cops Corner. Further ahead, you can still see Otis Lawrence looking to get himself on the back of Shanaka Clay as they head through Ed to Cops, down towards Max and Beckett, and everyone all the way down into P17 in this 1 second train. As we head through, and we can see that Caraton looking to get closer to the back of Tarabukin to put himself into the top 8. They exit the corner, they head down in towards Stowe again. Do we see a move from the lead between these two? Yes, we do. See a move for the lead between the top 2. And it's Otis Lawrence back into the lead now ahead of Shanaka Clay. Rishan Jacobs also made that section of the track work. He's got himself back within 3.5 tenths of the top 2 as they head down in towards the Vel chicane, then in towards Club chicane. Yet again for the 7th time in this race to begin at lap 8 of 26. And you're getting close to the halfway point. Obviously, lap 13 will be the halfway point, and that's where we'll most likely see people pitting off of their hard tyres onto a set of mediums. Sometimes it might be a little bit later. Some drivers might think, you know what, we'll go for a hard soft, so they'll go really late, probably to around lap 17 before they decide to pit onto a new set of tyres. As we come through, to turn 5 down towards the DRS zone in towards Brooklands Corner. You can see Shanaka gaining, but it's not really, you don't really gain that much down in towards Brooklands, unfortunately, unless you use all of your DRS and I mean all of your ERS power in towards there. And you can still see now the two Ferraris reunited. Is Van Pookie just ahead of his teammate Barry Burmand, and then Nicolas Longue still unfortunately down in P18, 33 seconds back off the field, so he's got no chance unless there's a safety car to put himself back into this race. So for him now it's just about trying to see how far those mediums can go, see what the pace is like on those mediums. That could also help decide what tyres Barry Burman's going to go on to, and Van Pookie, if they can figure out, right, you know, the mediums are good for 10 laps, they could decide to pit, right, we're going to mediums instead of maybe going on to a set of hards. Whereas they exit Chapel down towards Stoke Corner they go. That's a bit of a battle further back. That's Alvaro Caraton on the outside of Tarabukin in towards Stoke. Can't get himself ahead just yet, but has got a great exit to the outside line. They go in towards the chicane. Has to switch to the inside line. Sends it up the inside there of Andrei Tarabukin. What a poor camera angle we get, but they still go side by side, and it is off the track side there for Alvaro Caraton as they come through the final corner back down towards turn 1. And Andrei Tarabukin there still getting his elbows out, putting himself ahead of Caraton still as they head through. But Declan Barrett also looking to get himself involved with this little battle down in towards turn 3. No moves made for anyone there as they head through in towards Village, and they'll come through in towards the loop, and then they'll come through in towards A3 before getting that dose of DRS down in towards Brooklands. Got about 3 of the Williams cars together now. Alvaro, Declan and Keane all running that Golf Williams livery, and no moves just yet between any of them as they head through. But you can see there a very opportunistic opportunity from Alvaro to get himself into P8, but unfortunately couldn't make anything work. Tried to go for it, went off track down at the exit of turn 17, the exit of the Val chicane, and couldn't really fight back in towards turns 1, and then he couldn't even get back in towards turn 3. So a big shame there for Alvaro, but he has got more than enough time to try and fight back again. The gap between Barry and Andre is 9/10 of a second, so actually Alvaro's got to get himself through quickly, otherwise it could be a risk of no DRS for Andrei Tarabukin, which would really put you behind in this train as we come through. Heading out to turn 14 at Chapel. Down towards in towards Stowe corner. Caraton looking to the inside to put himself into P8. Does get it done this time. Van Tarabukin doesn't really be able to have anything to fight back with. Tarabukin doesn't through there. So it is P8 there for the Williams driver as they head down in towards this next section. So we come through, and Daniel Berejnay back to the top 4, looking to get himself ahead of Richard Jacobs. You'd think now these softs are starting to slowly wear away. So it could be soon time for Danny to get himself back into the top 3, where he started the Grand Prix. Obviously, it was Otishanaka Danny, the top 3. Currently, it's Otishanaka Danny in the top 1st, 2nd, and 4th. So not really many moves being lost from them all. They're still keeping themselves in the top 3, respectively. Obviously, Richard has got himself ahead, but he's on softer tyres, so it is an inevitable move there from Rishan to put himself into the top 3. You can see Barry closing in on his teammate Iswan Pookie in towards Brooklands, but obviously not going to make a move there. It wouldn't be silly. It wouldn't be good at all to make a move on your teammate. It would be quite silly just in case they came to contact. And all that work that's been done soft at the back would be a little bit undone for those two. They head through towards Cops now. You can see Shanaka Clay just moving out the slipstream of Otis Lawrence to make sure he doesn't really drag himself too close to the rear of the McLaren as they come through in towards this left-right section at Magnussen and Beckett. And they'll have Chapel, Danny Berejnay very close to the back of Richard Jacobs. Is he able to get a move this time? I think he will. To the inside line there for Berejnay. Balls alongside. Does he make a move in towards 16? Yes, he does. Gets himself back into the top 3 now. You could start to see some of the soft tyres slowly start to lose their mojo a little bit. You'll see Tamas Gal probably start to gain on Richard Jacobs shortly to put himself back into the top 4. You can see he's actually got some great pace so far. Tamas has on those hard tyres. Ishmael Fassi pops himself into the pit lane off of his softs. He'll go probably onto a set of hards or mediums. Well, he will have to go onto a set of hards or mediums. We'll see what it is for Ishmael Fassi. We'll see actually enters his pit box as we head through in towards turn 3 again. Actually, Shanaka got very close to the back of Otis Lawrence through there. So not ideal. You don't want to get yourself that close, otherwise you could end up risking having a bit of a tap round from him behind. And you can see there, Ishmael Fazli onto a set of mediums. So that should be probably the plan of action for many drivers now. It will be on the soft tyres getting ready to pit. Obviously, Richard, Isan and Barry, the only ones who also started on the soft tyres. They will have to head into the pit shortly, get themselves onto a set of mediums and pull themselves to the end. But you can see Tamas Gal pushing Richard Jacobs through in towards Luffield and then Woodcup. So it's looking inevitable now that these hards are quicker than the soft. You can also see Alvaro Caraton starting to pull the two Ferraris in as they come through in towards Cop's corner, heading down towards Max and Beggars on lap 11 and 26. And Gal looking to get himself now into the top 4. Great exit through Max and Beckett. It's a really good exit there as they come through in towards Chapel. So they head down now in towards Stowe corner. It will be probably the inside line for Tamas if he can get himself a move done. But actually chooses not to make a move. What about Barry Burman? Because he have a bit of a switch with his teammate? No, he doesn't. They have a bit of. Obviously Barry will sit back from his teammate as they head down in towards. Well, they will head down towards the pit lane now. As Isfan gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Now that has ruined pretty much Isfan's hopes of getting points possibly in this race. That is a big shame for Isfan Pookie. That is not what he would have wanted. Barry, possibly now they could, if Isfan comes out ahead of Barry, they could choose Barry to go ahead because he hasn't got that penalty. They come into the pits, they'll go into a set of medium tyres respectively as they now head at the pits back together down in towards turn 2 and 3. They'll go and it'll be Isfan ahead of Barry Burman. Obviously Ismail Fassi, where's he's just coming through out of the final couple of corners out of club now in towards turn 1 shortly. We'll see. Can Ishmael and Fassi get the jump on these two as they come through in towards turn 2? And oh no, he hasn't got that jump with that undercut. They've just about come out ahead of Ishmael Fassi there. Obviously the penalty there for Pookie will not be ideal at all. And the issue that Ishmael has got is he's on older tyres now, so he might be a little bit slower than these two. And he's also got to get himself within another second of them to put himself back into this DRS train. But back to the front, like you can see Russian Jacob still saying that on his soft tyres. He'll be going to a set of mediums, of course, now at this point. I think everyone will be going onto a set of mediums at this point to the outside line for Tamas Gal to put himself into P4. Russian is still going to try and hold it in towards the braking zone. Stowe has to back out there. So it is P4 now for Tamas Gal. Very nice indeed from him. Put himself back into top 4 position, now enters the pit lane, so he's done for his day. And that was also, I believe, Declan Barrett as well. No, it wasn't. It was King Goldendorp into the pit lane as well. So they'll head onto a set of medium tyres. We also got Valentino Labella and Andres Lopez onto a set of mediums as well. Valentino gets a speeding penalty. So that's 5 seconds added to his final lap time, which is a big shame for him indeed as well, who's doing a decent job in that top 13, top 14. But we come through now with the top 5. Otis, Lawrence, Shanaka, Clay, Danny Barrage, Tamas Gal, and Alvaro Caraton's done a great job to move himself through the field in this race. Started in the top 15, moved himself now into the top 5, so he's gained 10 positions on the hard compounded tyre. So he's looking in a very good job to get himself possibly a podium, maybe even a victory, because my choice of a victory was out after turn 1, unfortunately, which is not a, yeah, it wasn't an ideal vote at all for Keaton. So unfortunately, he's going to be out, along with JC as well, who came to together. I believe it was with Caraton, I think, in towards Cops. He then went off circuit, went into the pits, got a penalty, so he retired in the pit lane. So that it was his day done. Obviously, 2 retirees at the moment, and obviously Nicholas Longate on the 11 lap old mediums is catching up slow to the back of Valentino Labella, but he will be slower on those tyres, and also he was 30 seconds back. He had an incident as well on that opening couple of laps, so that dropped him all the way down, as we can see. Declan Barrett gaining on Andrei Tarabukin in towards Stowe. Is he closer to make an overtake? No, he's not there. You can see he had a great run towards Stowe, and they both head into the pit lane onto a new set of mediums. But I think there was also Bradley Holdham as well, following them through in towards the pit lane. And we'll see where Brumand and Pookie come out in all this little battle. Richard went into the pits. He dropped back 2.5 seconds from the 2 Ferrari pair. Obviously going on for an undercut strategy, so he should be quicker than a couple others in this race. We head down towards turn 1. Pookie set the fastest lap time on 27.521 there. And he did set the fastest lap on the soft, so he's got some great pace so far in this Grand Prix. They come out ahead of Tarabukin. Declan Hill dropped down to 14th, and Bradley Holdham will slot in behind at P15. Labella not close enough there to get himself ahead of Bradley Holdham. Not ideal at all, so he didn't really make anything work on that undercut strategy. But I want to see what the top 5 are going to be doing, because obviously Tygo Hardy's a little bit further back from this little train. Jake Benham sitting just behind him. But the top 5, I want to see where they come out compared to Pookie, because the pit stop around he's around 27-28 seconds, I think. So they will be quite far behind the 2 as they come through towards Stowe, and nearly making contact. Shanaka in the back of Otis Lawrence as they come through towards Stowe. Do they head into the pits? Yes, they do. Both of them heading into the pit lane. Following him in was Tamas Gal. So Danny Barrage leads from Alvaro Caraton from Jake Benham, who's now got himself in the top 3. Obviously, he started down in P17, I believe, in that race, as he retired from the session earlier on. So they're the only ones not to pit. But we'll see, Barry, where does he come out compared to these? He's heading down towards Velchicane at the moment. They've just swapped onto their new tyres. So we'll see. Heading through now, out of the final corner for Barry Burman, who's now got a decent gap to his teammate, hasn't he? As they come through. Heading down towards turn 3, and they've easily got themselves ahead of Otis. Otis will be into P6. He'll be 2.5 seconds back from his son Pookie. He's got Richard Jacobs right on his tail, though, as they head through in towards this next section at turns 4 and 5. Rishan 2.5 tenths back from Otis. Will he go from him to get himself into the provisional top 3? No, he sits back from Otis, so he's going to play a game then, work with Otis Lawrence to try and catch the guys ahead. The gap's 2.7 seconds between Otis Lawrence and his son Pookie. So it's all now time to play for. He's got to push. Otis has, otherwise he's got the lots of Rishan, Kian, Isma, who eventually will be like, right, if you're not going to gain, I'm going to push myself through. Shanaka Clay, he gets out in the top 10 behind Ishmael Fassi. Then we had Taras Gal, he popped out in P12 behind his teammate Andrei Tarabukin. So the overcut not working as well for everyone as he comes through. Danny Brashner and Alvaro Caraton going to the pits. Jake Benham following them in. No, he doesn't. He stays out on his set of hard tyres, so he should surely be looking for maybe a set of soft at this point. Take those 10-11 laps. We head through, and you can see Rishan just backing off there from Otis Lawrence as they head through in towards turn 16. The gap between Otis and Barry, 2.9 seconds, and you start to think, can they gain up quick enough? Because if these Ferraris keep bringing in this great pace on those mediums, it might not be enough for Otis to catch. We've seen many times around a circuit like this that people do sometimes struggle to catch up to the others ahead. So we'll see how this works for Otis as he goes onto his first full lap with his new medium tyres. Richard and Keane sitting back on 3-lap old tyres and Ishmael Fassi on 5-lap old tyres. He gets overtaken by Shanaka Clay to put himself into P7. Daniel Browshney getting himself ahead of Declan back. They're still going to fight side by side. Also, Andrei Tarabukin now looking for a move on Ishmael Fassi to put himself into P9. Also, Tamas Gal looking for a move as well to put himself ahead of Tarabukin and Fassi. They go down towards Brooklands. Tarabukin to the inside line. Tamash also going to look to put himself through. Can't do so, but Andrei Tarabukin a great move there on Fassi. Obviously, older tyres there by a long shot between Tamash and Ismail. That's about 4-lap offset. So it should be a matter of time before Tamash gets himself through. We'll go to the inside lines. They head through towards Cops. Bradley Holden's had a disconnect, so he's out of the session. He's then in P14. That's a big shame for him. So he's going to be done in this race pretty much because he'll drop back quite far. As that was, sorry, Tamash, I think it was Ishmael Fassi being overtaken by Declan and Danny in towards the next few corners. And also Alvaro Caraton looking for him on the outside. Jake Benham's headed himself in towards the pit lane as they come through, and also but it contact in between Tamash and Danny as they head down in towards the chicane. You can see there Tamash was close enough to make a move but decided to sit back, doesn't want to go for a move just yet on the back of Danny Browshney. Would rather spend a bit more time trying to gain in on the top guys, and it would be making a move there to get one position and then possibly lose 6 or 7 tenths. Shanaka Clay now very close to the back of Keane Godendorp as they head down in towards turn 3 to the inside line for Shanaka Clay. Can he get himself ahead of Keane? Keane will try and hold it back into turn 4, has to back out there, not close enough. So Shanaka Clay, great move there from him to put himself into P5. Very nice move indeed. So he's going to have to charge after Rishan Jacobs, who's on the charge with Otis to get after Istvan Pukki and Barry Borman, who are on 5-lap old tyres. Side by side between Danny and Andrei Tarabukin in towards turn 6 they go. And then you can see Andrei just out a bit of road there, couldn't try and fight back Danny Brojnay. So Danny into the top 7 there, looking to get himself ahead of King Godendorp to put himself into P6. Then further back you can see Tamash Gal, he's going to be looking to get himself ahead of Andrei Tarabukin as well to put himself into P8 as they head through towards Cop's Corner. And then towards Manx and Beck. It's 2 Alpine drivers working very well together so far in this Grand Prix. They come through to the right, back to the left, back to the right again for Beckett, and then they'll have Chapel, which is a bit of a kink to the left before they get the DRS down in towards Stowe Corner. That's Danny Browshney very close to the back of Keane going up to the outside line. He goes. Browshney, can he try and hook it around the outside? And had to try and hook it out the outside, but he didn't have to drop back as they entered Stowe Corner as they come through now, side by side in towards Club Chicane, Vale Chicane they go. Danny does get himself ahead of Keane Gundle to put himself into the top 6 as they head through now. The final corner down, back in towards turn 1, Danny Browshney trying to chase down Shanaka Clay, who's 7 tenths up the road, looking for a move on Rishan Jacobs to put himself into the top 4 as they come through. Heading down in towards Village. Shanaka 2 tenths back, looking to get himself closer as that's over. O'Caraton getting himself ahead of Declan Barrett, who's on older tyres, so obviously that's an inevitable move for Caraton to put himself back into that top 10 as they head down in towards Brooklands they go. And then Tamash Gal there ahead of Andrei Tarabukin to put himself into P8. Bradley Holden there was fighting with Valentino Labella to put himself back into P13. Obviously after having a disconnect, he's got himself back into the session, but they come through now, down in towards Cop's Corner. Shanaka Clay, 10th and a half back from Rishan Jacobs, looking to get himself back in towards that top 4. And obviously, Otis Lawrence now 1.3 seconds back from Barry Burman and Istvan Pukki, so a very good job so far from these guys in this train, working their way back in towards that DRS train at the top 2. And I think once Otis gets himself through towards that train, he could easily fight for the lead. Andres Lopez gets himself a 3-second time penalty. Shanaka Clay to the inside lines, they head down in towards Stowe. Barry Burman takes the lead again from Istvan Pukki as they come through, and Shanaka Clay into the top 4 and towards Stowe and up the inside of Rishan Jacobs there to get that move complete as they head down in towards the Vale Chicane. Otis Lawrence now within a second of Istvan Pukki, within 7 tenths of Istvan Pukki as they come through. The final corner down towards turn 1 they go again. Brezhnev also close to the back of Rishan Jacobs. Could he try and get himself a move ahead of Rishan to put himself into the top 5? Nicholas Longue gets himself a 3-second time penalty, but he's quite far back off the field still, 28-ish seconds back as Ismail Fassi has pitted onto a set of soft tyres. Brezhnev up the inside of Rishan up towards turn 4, gets himself ahead, but then Rishan will try and hold it around the outside as they come through. Out of turn 5 down towards turn 6 they go, and Brezhnev gets himself back ahead, but Rishan's going to try and fight around the outside as they come through. Can't do so just yet, so we'll have to sit behind as they come through. In towards Brooklands Corner. But a very nice move indeed from Brezhnev to put himself into the top 5. Right, further back, we've got Tamash Gal. He's right on the back of Keane Godendorp. Obviously, Keane on 2-lap older tyres then Tamas Shelby will be a little bit slower, same as Richard Jacobs as well, who's on 2 lap older tyres than Tamas Gal. But they come through. As that was also Otis Lawrence looking to get himself ahead of Istvan Pukki. Look at him pushing Istvan through as they come through in towards Max and Beggarts. Literally pushing the car through in towards there. He's going to have to try and get it, though, down in towards Stowe. He's got a better run, but actually Istvan's going to try and pull away. Can he pull away enough in towards Stowe? Yes, he can. He can pull away enough. You can see Barry there will be using him for slipstream. Otis has to sit back, can't make a move there. King Gundup's lost a few positions. He's lost 3 positions there in towards Stoke. Well, that's put Overall ahead of Tamash as well. Overall making a great job in this race to put himself into the top 7. Obviously started down near the back of the field. Otis Lawrence got himself ahead of Pukki. He's had a bit of a spin, I think. He's lost a couple of positions. As Shanaka Clay now gets himself into the top 2 ahead of Otis Lawrence as they head through towards turn 1. What a move there from Shanaka. I didn't see it, but he's got himself 2 positions into one corner. Great job from him. Can we see a move from Otis? No, he can't. He's got to sit back for now. Makes it a turn 4 into turn 5. The gap between Barry and Shanaka now within half a tenth. So Otis could try and fight back with Shanaka. No, he sits back, he's moving as well. He's saying, right, we want to work together. We don't want to fight too hard. There's no point fighting. We want to try and take Barry down as quick as we can, but do it coordinately. Further back, we can see Rashna. He's looking to get himself ahead of Pukki to put himself into the top 4. Obviously, Puki's on 4 lap older time, so will be a lot slower than Brezhnev, of course. You can see just in the background, that's Karaton looking to put himself ahead of Risha as they head through towards Cop's Corner. And Brezhnev closing in slowly as they come through towards Magnus and Beckett. Lawrence also closing into the back of Shanaka Clay as they come through in towards Max and Beckett. But we'll stick on board with these guys for now. We'll stick on board with Brezhnev as they come through. 18 towards the DRS zone now. You can see a little bit further up, Otis Lawrence closing in. Is it enough to make a move? We'll see if he does stick to the inside. No, he doesn't. He sits back for now as they come through in towards so they go. Brezhnev also not close enough to make a move, but he is going to look to get a move possibly towards the chicane. Honest on Pukki now has to sit back. Barrett gets a 3-second time penalty now. Unfortunate for him, he's down in P11, so probably will not score points with that penalty as well. As the fact he isn't even in the top 10 at the moment, he's in P11 behind Andrei Tarabukin. As we come through in towards turn 1 again, want to keep on board with the top 2 because you can see Shanaka Clay very close to the back of Barry. Went for a bit of a dummy send there on Barry Burman to put himself into P1, but he did sit back. And then that's up the inside from Bereshne. What a send on his one Pukki to put himself into P4. Now that was a bit of a controversial, I think, and I think if it was in the real season, that will probably go to the shoes. It was a bit of a push there from Bereshne up the inside at turn 4. Shanaka Clay takes the lead of the race as Ismail Fassi is out of the race in the pit lane. That's also Tamash Gal now looking for a move on Rishan Jacobs around there. So all contact again. Bereshne round down at turn 6. I'm not sure what happened then. All of them all flying through. We've got King Gundorp involved as well. He's put himself back ahead of Tamash Gal as they head through in towards Cop's Corner. We could have a few cars going side by side. Nearly 4 tenths separating 4 of them. Over then to Tamash as they head through in towards Cop's Corner. But I'm not sure what happened there. But I think it could have been a bit of contact with either Pukki or a bit of contact with Otis Lawrence as they went through and towards Brooklands. And probably, I think it was more probably contact in towards Luffield it was. But indeed, a big shame there for Bereshne, who's now down to P13, his teammate, just ahead of him in P12. And that was also a send from the inside from Tamash Gal, trying to put himself ahead of Kian Gundorp, through and towards Stoke Corner. Couldn't do it there. What about Alvaro Couton looking to get himself ahead of Rishan Jacobs? Just put himself ahead of Rishan Jacobs there. Rishan going to try and fight back and put with these poor camera angles. We can't really see anything what's going on, but we can see Alvaro ahead of Rishan to put himself into P5 as they come through. In towards turn 1 they go. And you can see Rishan still gaining on the back of Couton. Can he send a move to the inside into turn 3? No, has to sit back for now. Not going to fight too hard there with Alvaro Couton because Alvaro is on 3-lap newer tyres. Same is on 4-lap newer tyres than Istvan and Barry. So he's looking in a very good shot to even get a podium in this race, which, considering where he started, absolutely mega stuff from Karason indeed. I think he started P15 in this race. So to be fighting for a podium after being on the same strategy as pretty much everyone else, absolutely stellar job from Karason indeed. But we head down now in towards turn 9 at Cops, the top 3. Shanaka Clay, Barry Burman and Otis Lawrence. This one Pukki sitting just close behind with his penalty will drop down probably outside of the top 10. Big shame for him indeed after having such a great run through in this race, keeping very close to the back of his teammate at many points, having better pace than his teammate Barry Burman, who's been in the scene I think a lot longer Istvan Puk. Obviously, Istvan did again announce a couple of days ago that he did join Ferrari Esports for the upcoming esports season, which is a great signing by them, and I think Istvan will be very happy with that indeed. Obviously, over these past couple of years, he's been showing his worth in the scene, and it's obviously came to pay off as he's now part of the official Ferrari Esports Pro Series lineup. As we come through in towards the final few corners, Otis Lawrence now looking for a move on Barry Burman to put himself into P2. Couldn't do so there, a little bit too far back in towards the final corner, but it has brought Istvan Puk right behind Otis as they come through in towards turn 1, but key as well is Alvaro Caraton sitting behind this. Can he try and launch a move on Pookie? Yes, he can around the outside for Caraton. Actually, Pookie makes a bit of contact with Otis Lawrence in towards turn 3. That gives Caraton the position. He's now going to be looking to get himself ahead of Otis Lawrence. If he can do that, he could be easily looking for the win. I think the only person to challenge Shanaka Clay for the win at the moment is Otis Lawrence, but if Alvaro can get himself ahead, he's definitely looking to fight for it, because I think Barry will eventually drop behind these couple of drivers as we've got 3 laps left to go. Barry's on 3 and 4 lap older tyres. He will eventually drop back, I think, once Otis and Alvaro decide to push hard. But you can see Alvaro has got a lot of pace in his car as they come through in towards Cops Corner. King Godendorp as well, very close to the back of Rish and Jacobs. These two on 10 lap old tyres. So, you know, what happens between them? They're on the same amount of tyres, so it's down to pace between those two. And obviously Tarashko as well, he's sitting just behind those two, so big shame for him. He must have got caught in the incident somewhere, because he's now dropped down to P8 he was, I think, with Caraton. So big shame for him indeed as well, and obviously an even bigger shame for Bereshne. Fighting for a podium, fighting for a victory, has dropped him now down towards P13 after a bit of contact at Luffield. But we come through now, Otis Lawrence looking for a move there on Barry Burman. Can he try and get the move in towards the chicane at Vale? He'd have to send it. No, he has to sit back for now. Doesn't bother sending it on Barry Burman. Doesn't want to send it there. He'll have to go for it again. Obviously, he'll have to go for it possibly in towards turn 3. That's his best shot of a move. You can see pushing Barry through as they head in towards turn 1. Lap 24-26. 1 lap before the penultimate lap of the race. So about 6 more doses of DRS are left in this race for you to get yourself ahead of the driver in front. We come down in towards turn 3. Otis not close enough to make a move. Alvaro, he's loving this. He wants to get himself a move on Otis because he's got a lot more pace. You can see he's braking a lot later than these two, as Otis just can't get himself past Barry, and that is something he needs to do. Now he could get himself past Barry. He's got himself within a 10th as they head through in towards Brooklands. They go to the inside line for Otis Lawrence. Can he try and get P2? Barry will try and hold it around the outside. Inside line as Barry gets a penalty though. 3-second penalty for going off track as they went through on the exit of Brooklands through in towards Luffield. Otis is still on the outside line. Can Otis try and fight back in towards Cops? No, he can't. So Barry's still holding that P2 on those tyres. He's doing a great job to keep himself ahead of Otis Lawrence and Alvaro Caraton, who is also going to be looking to get himself a podium now, as Barry will drop back with that penalty. So at the moment it is Shanaka Clay, Otis Lawrence, Alvaro Caraton. Rishan looking for a top 4. Should be a great performance from him in this lobby as well, considering normally he drives as I think it's a reserve in tier 2. So he's done a great job so far in this invitational grid. We head down in towards Stowe again. You can see Otis. He can brake so much later than Barry, but he just can't get a move up the inside because Barry's able to defend that Ferrari very well. They head down in towards chicane yet again. Vel chicane they go. Heading on to the penultimate lap of the race, and Shanaka Clay still leading them away from Barry, Otis and Alvaro in the top 4. As we head through now in towards turn 1 again, can we see a move from Otis Lawrence? He's gaining. He's within 1.9 tenths of a second of Barry, but I don't think it's enough into turn 3. No, we can't send a move there. He's going to have to back off for now, but you can see Caraton very close. He hit the back of Otis Lawrence in towards there, so he needs to be very careful when he's braking. Istvan Puk as well, sit within a couple of tenths of Alvaro Caraton. He's not going to be close enough to make a move, though, in towards Brooklands corner, but Otis is going to be looking to get close enough, but also Barry's using that DRS to his advantage to keep himself right with Shanaka Clay. That means Otis just can't get himself through, so Barry's doing a great job in this train. Just keep himself behind Shanaka Clay, keep himself in that DRS, and doesn't have to worry. But the issue that provides is that Alvaro Caraton, who's looking quicker than the top 3, I'd say at this point, on the better tyres as well, he's looking to get himself ahead of Otis, which is what Barry wants. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want Otis right on his back. He'd rather Alvaro be there as we come through in towards Chapel. And now the DRS have been opened yet again. Do we see a move from the lead for Barry Burman? We will see a move for lead probably, but actually Otis is going to try and find around the outside. Has to back out there. Shanaka Clay, a bit of a blockade for Lawrence as they come through, but they still go side by side down in towards the Vale chicane. Inside line for Otis Lawrence. Can he get himself ahead of Barry Burman? He's been waiting for this for about 7 laps, and he has got himself ahead of Barry Burman. Great move there from Otis Lawrence, and now over Caraton's turn to get himself ahead of Barry Burman. And normally once you have that one drop in position, you start to fall down the field. And now it'll be dropping to P4 probably for Barry. As you can see, Alvaro pretty much pushing in towards turn 3. Sits back for now, doesn't make a move in towards there. We'll probably look for it possibly near enough where Otis did, down in towards Stowe. Burn your battery, put yourself to the inside line, straight through. Job is done. So we head through now, out of Aintree. Down towards Brooklands again, you can see Otis pretty much following Shaka Clay through the corner as they go down in towards Brooklands. And Alvaro sitting right behind in this, doing a very decent job. That's Tycho Hardy getting himself into the top 10 ahead of Declan Barrett down at P10 and 11. And you can see Jake Benham sitting close behind him, P12, and Darry Brejne 3 seconds back from his teammate. He's under a bit of pressure from Bradley Holdham down at the bottom of the grid, but obviously a big shame for Danny. I'm not sure if he got any damage, as that's Jake Benham also on our screens, getting himself ahead of Declan to put himself into P11. But we come through the final time in this race, lap 26 to 26. We're going to see a move possibly for the podium between Alvaro Caraton and Barry Brumman. We come through now down towards Stowe again for the final time in this race. Do we see a move between anyone? We do see a move from Barry to the inside, to the outside of Otis. What about Caraton? Can he try and make a move? No, he can't. He's still stuck behind. Will he make a send in towards the chicane as they go down? They go down to the outside for Caraton. Going to try it. He's going to try it, indeed, and notice there, gets a little bit of tangle, but Shanaka Clay will round the final corner to win the British Grand Prix here for the second invitational race at WOR, and Alvaro Caraton does get himself ahead of Otis Holmes to finish in second. Otis will be in third, followed by Keane, Golden Duck, Tamashkal, who got himself ahead of Rishan. That was 54 thousandths to the line between those two for P5 and P6. Andrea Tarabukin, seventh, followed by Barry Brumman, with that penalty dropped down to P8. Tiger Hardy in the top 9, and Jake Benham did get himself 1 point. He's in the top 10. He's from Puka with his penalty dropped down to P11. Bradley Holden finished in 11th. Darren Brejne, that gap there between those two, 20 thousandths of a second as well as they went through towards the line. Andres Lopez in P14, Valentino Labella 15th. Declan will get his position back as he left the session, I believe, before the race ended. And Nicholas Longate, we'll have a look at him as well, as he will come through to finish in P17. So, a very interesting ending. A very well, for Danny, controversial, unfortunate for him to be dropped down, but for many, the likes of Alvaro, driver of the day, definitely worth driver of the day. We can see as well in the chat a lot of cheers for Kian. Got himself into the top 4, great job for him, obviously. He got P4 in Tier 2 last time on Monday, and has got himself P4 again here at the Invitational. So, we'll run through the classification. So, Shanaka Clay took victory there to make it a Williams 1-2. So P2 to P1 for Shaka, P15 to P2 for Alvaro Caraton. Then we have Otis Lawrence, our pole sitter, in third. Then we have Keane Golden up in the top 4, Tamas Gal 5th, Rishan Jacobs in the top 6, Andrea Tarabuk in 7th, Barry Burman 19th to 8th, so a very nice job from him. And then we have Toka Hardy 9th and Jake Benham rounds out the top 10. Then it's on Puki side at the back, moved himself up for a battle for P3 and 4. He unfortunately had a penalty, so he dropped down to P11. So we have Bradley Holdham in 12th, Danny Brejne in 13th, Andres Lopez 14th, Valentino Labella 15th. And then we have Nicholas Longane 16th. Declan Barrett, I think, was around P11, so he'll get the position back. Then we have Ishmael Fassi in 18th, 19th for Justin, 20th for Kid and Lot. Obviously, those three didn't finish the race. And Ishmael Fassi did have the fastest lap, but 26.293 on the set of soft tyres. And one thing I've learned is commentating alone on a very high calibre grid gets very tiring for your voice. So sorry if I made a few slip-ups. I'm aware I did. When we come towards the end of the race, because my throat is absolutely killing me. But amazing race on the top 3, amazing race from pretty much everyone on the grid who got themselves some nice positions. We're going to see if we can get an interview from anyone quickly before we end off our stream. We're going to see if we can get an interview from the top 3. Hopefully we can get a word from Otis. That would be very nice indeed. Ask them to want an interview quickly, and if they do, pop themselves in towards the waiting for interview room. But we're going to pop ourselves back over towards the camera screen, so we can see my face yet again for the 4th time this race, this stream, and hopefully we do get a mention in the interviews for one of them. I'm just trying to have a quick look if you get any of them in. But a very great race, and I think a lot of it for many drivers was testing new things out, and well, for Alvaro Caraton, whatever he tested out worked very, very well, and I think he'll be very happy with that. Got himself in towards P2. Rishon as well, that strategy did work. I didn't think it would work as well. It did. He started P7, got himself into the lead at one point, went onto the medium tyres, got himself back into the top 6, so he did make a position in that race. And obviously Barry as well, Barry and Isvan, they were in the top 5, unfortunately got them penalties, 3 seconds for Barry of Brooklyn's, and it was 5 seconds for Isvan in the pit lane, so they dropped down to P8 and P11, and unfortunately Nicholas Longo, I'm not quite sure what happened to him there, but it is indeed a big shame for him, as he would have been, I think, a very strong factor in this race. He's got some great pace, one of the quickest drivers, I'd say, in this lobby on a whole. So a big shame to see him not get involved in any of the action. And I don't think we'll get anyone in the interview room, unfortunately, in this race, which is a big shame. Of course, it would be nice to see someone, but we'll wait a couple more minutes just in case. But let us know in the chat what you thought of the race, because I think it was great. I see a lot of support yet again for Kian. Great job from him. P4, absolutely superb job as well. Tamas Gal finished top 5. He did a really good job, considering he's one of the drivers I spoke with many times. He's always struggled with pressure. He's in a high level lobby. He's got himself into a top 5 position. That is very good for him indeed. And will, for many drivers, give themselves a sense of motivation. Maybe for likes of the drivers who are on esports, it doesn't mean a lot for them, considering it isn't the normal grid they've been racing in. But for many drivers that, tier 2 races, maybe reserves for tier 1, they'll be very happy with that performance that they did, especially when they're getting themselves into the top 10. They're beating some of the quick esports drivers like Jake Benham, Daniel Brezhnev, Nicholas Longay. That is the type of thing that you need for motivation to drag yourself through. And so obviously, maybe get yourself into esports. Obviously, Sam Pookie, he's got himself into esports, drove in tier 2 many times and tier 1 many times in the past couple of seasons. And finally, all that work paid off, because if you didn't know, he is now going to be part of the lineup for the Ferrari team in the Pro Series of Esports. And unfortunately, we won't get an interview from anyone, so we will end it off here. But thank you, everyone, for joining us for this invitational race. Thank you for putting up with me, and only me, in this stream. And we'll be back next time. And as we said before, if you would like to know a bit more about Season 16, when all that begins and when the sign-ups open, head yourself in towards a Discord server. You can find all the information that has been released there. And obviously more information will come through as obviously Season 15 ends on Monday, so tomorrow, for the PC Tier 2 and below. I believe the console will also be on the Thursday Tier 2 and below. So make sure to check out in the Discord there, or check out on the social media, Twitter and Instagram. You'll be able to see all the information there. So thank you yet again for everyone for joining tonight, and we'll see you again next time. So good night.
I know, okay, interesting.